7 Parisian design secrets that make a home feel instantly more elegant. There was a tiny Paris studio I once imagined as the perfect example of a home with too much character and not quite enough space. The room was narrow, the ceiling was high, and every piece of furniture seemed to have a very specific job. Yet somehow when you stepped inside, it didn't feel cramped in the way you might expect. It felt intimate, collected, and surprisingly elegant. That is what makes Parisian interiors so fascinating. They rarely depend on having more space. Instead, they depend on knowing what to do with the space you already have. Today, we're looking at 7 simple Parisian design secrets that can make even the smallest home feel more refined. The first secret is something many of us overlook. Parisian homes often allow the architecture to become part of the decoration. In a compact apartment, ornate ceiling molding, tall windows, old doors, parquet floors, or even slightly imperfect walls can provide visual interest without taking up a single inch of floor space. If your home has an original architectural feature, don't automatically try to hide it. Sometimes elegance begins by simply appreciating what is already there. A small room becomes much more memorable when its character comes from the building itself, rather than from a mountain of decorative objects. This may sound strange, especially when every square foot matters, but leaving some areas visually quiet can make a room feel more expensive. Parisian interiors often resist the temptation to fill every corner. In a tiny studio, that might mean keeping one wall relatively simple, leaving a little breathing room around a chair, or allowing the floor to remain visible. The goal isn't emptiness for its own sake. It is balance. When everything is competing for attention, nothing feels special. A little restraint gives the eye somewhere to rest, and that quietness often reads. Imagine this small Paris apartment with just one beautiful velvet armchair, a slim vintage table, and a modest sofa. None of the pieces are particularly enormous, yet together they tell a story. That is the second secret. Choose furniture for personality rather than quantity. A compact home doesn't need 10 interesting objects. It may only need 2 or 3. An antique-looking mirror, a beautifully worn wooden chair, or a small marble-top table can bring far more character than a room packed with generic furniture. In my opinion, this is one of the easiest lessons to borrow from Parisian design. One reason older Parisian interiors can feel so warm is that the furniture often appears to have lived a little. It doesn't necessarily match perfectly, and that is precisely the point. A vintage chair beside a simple modern-looking lamp can feel more personal than a perfectly coordinated furniture set. For a small apartment, this approach is especially useful because every piece becomes noticeable. Instead of asking, "How can I make everything match?" try asking, "Does each piece have something interesting to say?" That small change in thinking can make a compact room feel collected rather than decorated. If there is one design lesson I would emphasize above everything else, it is lighting. A beautiful little apartment can feel cold and ordinary under a single bright ceiling fixture. The same room can feel completely different when several gentle sources of light are placed at different heights. Think of a small table lamp beside a chair, a warm wall lamp near the bed, and perhaps a subtle lamp on a console. Instead of illuminating the entire room equally, you are creating little islands of warmth. That is when a cramped studio begins to feel intimate rather than restricted. Picture the same apartment at 7 in the evening. Outside the tall French windows, Paris is becoming darker. Inside, the harsh daylight has disappeared, and several small lamps have taken over. The walls now have soft shadows, the wood looks warmer, and the velvet chair seems almost inviting you to sit down. Nothing expensive has necessarily been added. The atmosphere has simply changed. This is why lighting is more than a practical decision. It is emotional design. Parisian interiors understand that a room should not only look beautiful at noon, it should also feel wonderful when the evening begins. Another Parisian secret is the art of mixing eras. A small apartment can become visually flat when every object belongs to the same period or design style. Instead, consider pairing an old mirror with a simple contemporary sofa, or placing a traditional wooden side table beside a more understated chair. The contrast creates tension, but it doesn't have to feel chaotic. In fact, it can make the room feel more authentic. Real homes evolve over time. They collect objects gradually. That sense of history is difficult to recreate with a perfectly matched showroom set. There is something comforting about an interior that doesn't look as though nobody is allowed to touch it. A slightly aged wooden surface, an antique frame, a linen curtain with natural folds, or a chair showing subtle signs of use can make a room feel human. In a tiny apartment, this matters even more because the space is already intimate. Perfection can sometimes make a small room feel like a display case. A little imperfection gives it warmth. The Parisian approach isn't about making everything old. It's about allowing materials to show character instead of demanding that everything look brand new. Mirrors are another classic trick, but there is a more elegant way to use them. Instead of covering every wall with mirrors simply to make a room look bigger, choose one mirror with genuine character. A tall vintage frame positioned near a window can reflect daylight, architecture, and movement, while also becoming a decorative focal point. In a narrow studio, this can visually extend the room without making the design feel overly clever. The mirror should feel as though it belongs there, not as though it was installed simply because someone wanted the apartment to appear larger. The most successful mirror placement is often about what the mirror captures. If it reflects a beautiful window, a warm lamp, a piece of artwork, or an interesting architectural detail, it effectively doubles the visual importance of that feature. That is much more sophisticated than simply trying to create the illusion of extra square footage. I think this is an important distinction. Elegant interiors don't always try to trick the eye. Sometimes they simply guide the eye towards something worth noticing. A mirror becomes part of the composition rather than just another practical object on the wall. Parisian interiors often benefit from restrained colors. Warm ivory, aged beige, soft brown, muted gray, deep green, burgundy, or gentle charcoal. But restrained does not mean lifeless. The secret is to create interest through variation in tone and texture, rather than relying on many bright colors. In a compact apartment, too many strong colors can visually break the room into smaller pieces. A quieter palette allows the space to feel connected. Then, when a darker velvet chair or brass lamp appears, it feels intentional and special, rather than simply another color competing for attention. When there isn't room for many decorative objects, texture can do the work instead. Velvet, linen, aged wood, marble, wool, brass, and woven fabrics each catch light differently. Imagine a small sofa covered in soft linen, a velvet cushion nearby, a wooden table beneath a brass lamp, and a stone surface reflecting the warm evening glow. There may not be much in the room, but there is plenty for the eye to explore. This is one of the most useful lessons for small homes. When you can't add more objects, add more tactile interest. The final secret may be the simplest. Every important object should earn its place. In a tiny Paris studio, there is no room for furniture that exists only because there was an empty corner. A narrow cabinet might provide storage. A beautiful chair might become the reading spot. A mirror might reflect the window. A small table might serve breakfast in the morning and hold a lamp in the evening. When furniture has more than one purpose, the apartment becomes easier to live in. And when decorative objects have emotional or visual value, The room feels personal rather than crowded. When floor space disappears quickly, look upward. Tall curtains, vertical artwork, wall-mounted lighting, bookshelves, and high mirrors can draw the eye toward the ceiling. This is particularly effective in older Parisian apartments, where high ceilings naturally create a sense of generosity. Even if your ceiling isn't exceptionally tall, the principle still works. The idea isn't to fill the walls from floor to ceiling. It's to create a gentle vertical rhythm that prevents the room from feeling visually compressed. A small apartment can have a small footprint and still have a surprisingly strong sense of height. In a compact studio, the bed can easily become the dominant object in the room, but with thoughtful positioning, it can feel more like a quiet retreat. A simple upholstered headboard, a narrow side table, warm bedside lighting, and a curtain or subtle architectural division can create separation without requiring a permanent wall. This is where Parisian thinking becomes practical. You don't always need to build another room. Sometimes you only need to create the feeling of another room. A change in lighting, texture, or furniture orientation can establish a completely different mood. Elegant interiors don't need drama everywhere. In fact, they often become more sophisticated when there is only one obvious moment of drama. It could be an oversized antique mirror, a deep velvet chair, a dramatic lamp, a beautiful piece of artwork, or a dark accent wall. In a tiny apartment, this strategy is particularly effective because there are fewer visual distractions. One memorable element can give the entire room an identity. Rather than asking, "What else can I add?" ask, "What is the one thing I want someone to remember after they leave?" Perhaps the greatest difference between a beautiful Parisian home and a staged interior is the feeling that someone actually lives there. A book left beside a chair, a small vase of flowers, a neatly folded throw, or a cup resting near a window can suggest everyday life without creating clutter. The objective isn't to make the apartment look messy. It is to make it feel believable, especially for those of us who have lived in homes for many years. Elegance doesn't have to mean perfection. Sometimes the most beautiful rooms are the ones that quietly reveal the people who live inside them.
Носих пустишь тоже, ты заснешь. Да знаешь, ночь не ждешь. И вот он, с кожи святом, даже тоже в этом ты заснешь. И тоже ты соснешь. Да вот он, не мечтаешь.
When we put all 7 ideas together, a pattern begins to appear. Parisian elegance isn't really about expensive furniture, enormous rooms, or following every design trend. It is about restraint, proportion, atmosphere, and personality. You preserve the architecture. You choose fewer meaningful pieces. You layer warm lighting. You mix periods. You use mirrors thoughtfully. You work with a quiet palette and rich textures. And most importantly, you make every element feel intentional. That is why a cramped little studio can sometimes feel more sophisticated than a much larger home filled with expensive things. So perhaps the most important lesson from our little Paris apartment is this. Elegance isn't something you buy when you move into a bigger home. It is something you create by making better decisions with the space you already have. A tiny room can hold beautiful memories, useful furniture, warm light, and plenty of personality. And maybe that is why Parisian interiors continue to inspire us. They remind us that a home doesn't have to be large to feel special. Sometimes all it needs is a little restraint, a little character, and a thoughtful eye for beauty. If you look around your own home today, you may discover that the elegance you've been searching for is already there. You simply need to let it shine.